Welcome to episode 37 of Thrashcast. My name's Billy, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Jim and Ken. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, sir.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right, great. And then just quickly like to remind our viewers and our listeners where they can find Thrashcast. Our website, www.horrormetalsounds.com. And on YouTube, same thing, Horror Metal Sounds, but at Kenji.2864. And lastly, if I could just request, please, folks, if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our various podcasts, it really helps our channel grow. And of course, the three of us greatly appreciate it. We're making some good progress. Our next goal is 500. We're sitting around 430 mark. So that's pretty good. We sort of started near zero, so making some good progress. So the agenda for today, what's our topic? So we released it last week, of course. Demolition Hammer from the good old United States. Thrash band that certainly crossed some barriers with death metal. And that'll be a bit of a theme. Well, that'll be the entire theme for our top 10, where we're each going to discuss our top 10 death thrash metal bands. And so in terms of albums today, this is what we'll be focusing on.
Yeah.
So that's Epidemic of Violence from 1992. So this was a pretty vicious album for 1992. Many of our favorite bands had started the journey into groove metal and some industrial metal and some new metal at the time. So but this thing is 100% brutal, vicious slab of thrash death metal. So now, of course, we'll have a question coming up shortly. Demolition Hammer didn't escape that '90s groove scene, so that does come back with a connection a bit later. But before we do a deep dive on Demolition Hammer, let's begin with our news and what's spinning. Jimmy, why don't you start this week?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really have any news, but lots of what I'm spinning. So I was able to pick up last Friday the new Impellitteri
Nice.
album, War Machine, which is absolutely fantastic. It's kind of sad it came out so late in the year because it probably will hit my top 30, but I haven't been listening to it enough for it to really grab a spot in my top 15 or top 20. The other one I picked up, I got delivered, was Hatchet,
Oh, nice.
the EP, which is really, really good with the covers Human Insecticide and the Wasp Hellion, which is wicked. Leave No Soul, really, really good thrash band. Love that band. But, Black Friday's going on this week, so I was able to pick up this super cool
Oh,
Thin
sweet.
Lizzy box set. I mean, the
Yeah, that's
six
awesome.
CDs. This thing is amazing. 1976. So it comes with a really cool. Like all the CDs are kind of in this folder thing here, which is really really neat. But it's the both albums released that year, which was Johnny the Fox,
Yeah.
and Jailbreak. So what I like about this, and it's got a really cool book here too with lots of stuff in it, and
Yeah,
I
that's
mean
great.
lots, just all kinds of information. One of my favorite bands. But it's what I like about this, and they're really smart doing it. They released like CD1 is Jailbreak, the original mix. So then they have CD2 is the new stereo mix. And they did that with Johnny the Fox. So it's kind of cool because, for fans, like I always think that, a lot of bands are missing the boat when they bring out a box set like this. I always think they should put an original mix in there, disc in there. I mean, it must boost their numbers to sell. On top of that, it makes it more attractive. You get it all in one shot. I mean, I have these albums anyways, and I have them remixed from that, but it's cool to have the whole set. And then it comes with the other three. The other two CDs are like outtakes from both albums, and then they have a live in Cleveland disc as
Cool.
well. So for the money, it was on sale for like $80 Canadian, which it's 120, I think, everywhere's, and it's a Black Friday deal.
That's a good
So,
deal.
although I'm not finding the Black Friday deals that great, I don't know about you guys, but hopefully, when Friday absolutely hits when this airs, there'll be a lot more out there. But this was one I definitely jumped on right away. So that's what I got for you guys this evening.
Cool.
Yeah, I never find really any deals
Yeah.
for metal stuff, right? I mean, or it'll be an arbitrary like 10% off or
Yeah.
something like that from a record label. But they're all in the US. So I end up paying like a fortune in border and shipping. So 10% doesn't help me. But oh well. So Jim, is that is it because of an anniversary that came out
Yeah,
or
it came out. It's 1976 is when it came out, so they're kind of doing the two, and the two albums came out in the same year. I love these bands in the 70s, like Motorhead had two albums. I think Bomber and another one there that they had. I used to love it when bands would come out with two albums in a year. Can you imagine? Now we have to wait usually. Like if we get one within 2 years, we're pretty excited from a band. But there's back then they were just pumping them out. So it's just it was time. I mean, these are two of probably their. I mean, one, Jailbreak is one of their probably their biggest, their best selling album.
Yeah,
And Johnny the Fox was really popular too. I mean, from that point of '74 all the way up. I mean, they had their live album as well. They were really gaining a lot of momentum, Phil, and until Phil's death, obviously. But I think it's just it was time to redo these and kind of do them in this really cool box set. I think it's pretty neat.
Cool. Did you notice if they have a vinyl set too?
That I'm not sure. I did not notice. What I love about this is the actual size. Because when I went to the record store to look at it, I was like, "This thing is huge, man. I've just got to be maybe some smaller albums." But no, it's the CD all set up properly. It's pretty cool. But no, I actually didn't look at the actual
I'll take a look.
the album size.
Well, I'm sure they must. They must have a vinyl. They would. You wouldn't just put it out on CD and not have vinyl.
I assume so.
Yeah, it would be kind of stupid.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's it for you, Jim?
That's it for me, guys.
All right, Ken, over to you.
Sure. So I was listening to the latest Burning the Priest podcast a couple of days ago, and Randy Burns was on it. So I thought it was interesting that he came on to talk about, his experiences recording, the Florida death metal scene. So he talked briefly about Death, Megadeth. He talked about his past, which I didn't know that he was actually in a band originally. He is a musician formerly, who I guess decided to go into music production down the road. But I thought that was kind of interesting. But he mentioned that he would like to do. Well, he's already working on Chris Poland's remix to Return to Megalopolis, which got me really excited because I like Chris's work, and it'll be interesting to hear a new remix that apparently is coming out next year. He also mentioned that he wants to approach Dave Mustaine to remix Peace Cells. So he was saying he wasn't too sure how Dave would take that, so he was considering just remixing a couple songs and then taking the songs to Dave and getting his opinion on it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He gave a couple shout outs to a couple new bands he's working on. A band called Nemesis, thrash band from Houston, Texas, that he's really, really big on. So I was like, yeah, I've heard of that band. So I think that's kind of cool. He thinks they're going to be the next big thing down the road. So I thought that was kind of a neat, just to hear his perspective on recording music. And he's all about just doing analog. So apparently he recently purchased analog gear and
that's cool.
Got set up in his studio. So he's really into doing that, which is what I like. I like the fact that he's, not relying on the Pro Tools and the whole kind of digital thing, and going back to the roots of like what makes a good album. Oddly enough, it does kind of tie into tonight's theme because he did produce the first Demolition Hammer album, so that's kind of interesting. So I'm sure we'll be bringing that up later in the podcast.
I've got his Chasing the Sun album, which is really good. I got to get Return to Metalopolis. I got to get that.
I have an original CD when it came out, but I'll probably buy the remix. I'm curious to see. Although, like I thought a couple years ago, they did a remaster of Megalopolis that came out 2 or 3 years ago.
2020.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of odd that they're doing a remix, but apparently this is a passion project for Randy. So I'm kind of excited about that. I like that album quite a bit. So it'll be kind of cool. And for what's spinning, I don't have it in front of me, but the new Body Count came out last week.
Yes.
I love it. Totally great. It's getting a lot of rave reviews from people. It's fantastic. There's a lot of guests on this one. So like you get Howard Jones, you get Corpse Grinder. Corpse Grinder doing death metal on a Body Count album is pretty fucking wild. I have to say.
Max is on there too. Max Cavalera. Yeah.
Max Cavalera and Joe Bad.
Nice.
And even now, although he's not credited, David Gilmour does play guitar on this album. So Comfortably Numb, apparently they approached David about covering it, and he said, okay, you guys can cover it on one condition, and I get to play guitar on it.
Yep.
So he came on board to play guitar. So it's fantastic. So it's like, I like it. I love the album quite. It's so nasty, and it's like, man, it's like, oh man, these guys are on a tear. The last 2 or 3 albums, they've been on a super tear. But yeah, if you like Body Count, I'd say check this one out. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. And that's it for me.
And so, Ken, I know you brought up the well, I was going to say hatred, but that's a strong word. You didn't generally like remixes. So, being you briefly brought up a remix of one of your favorite Megadeth albums. How would you feel? I presume you wouldn't like that.
No, I'm not. I'm not really big into the whole remix thing myself. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it would get like a lot of I would imagine a lot of diehard fans wouldn't be the happiest about that.
Probably not, but I don't know. I mean, to me personally, I don't think Peace Sells needs to be remixed. It's fine the way it is.
Same here.
So I don't know what Randy would bring to it. Like what would you bring new to that isn't already on that album? So I don't know. I'm skeptical. But even during the podcast, he did come across kind of like skeptical as well, because he wasn't really sure how Dave would feel for that. And
but Dave did the first one, right? That got a full remix.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, okay, he's gonna remix Return to Megalopolis. All right, fine. I mean, I'm curious to hear it. So, I mean,
look, Killing Is My Business was a rough album, but you gotta, like, in their catalog, you gotta have that sort of genesis of where they started. If you're just gonna polish, and that's great, they polish it up as well. That's why I like, if he's gonna release it, like they released it with the new artwork, I didn't even like that. I mean, the old artwork was kind of campy too, but if you're gonna release it, if they want to release it with an original copy, so new people buying it get a chance to listen to what we listened to as teenagers when we put it on the first time, and let them make the decision. That's what I think. But I like, remix, and I always get suckered into them because I just want to buy another album, Megadeth album or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Jim. I get your point. If you're a collector, you just want to have.
Oh, I'm a completist. Everything. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I bought all the Iron Maiden remasters, and there's no need to do that,
But I agree with Billy when Billy says when they remaster, I like it if they'll like if they change the artwork a little bit like they did on the Testament album, that's cool. But I don't like it when they put like remaster or remix. Like, don't put it on the front of the artwork. It dilutes
it. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I would agree with what you. Yeah, I would agree.
Creator did that on all their.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I wouldn't do it either. I'd keep that off. You want to keep the artwork as pure as possible, right?
Yeah,
I would think. But.
No, look at that three cranky old guys upset about the word remaster on our CD. That's funny. Okay, cool. So I'll do news items. I got a couple items here. Hopefully I'll make it through. Just recovering from a cold here, so I might get into a coughing fit. But one piece of news that came out yesterday that I've just been thinking about nonstop is the announcement from Forbidden. So I think many folks know that Chewy, Dan Monograin from Voivod, has been helping them out. So that makes sense. Like, he's got time, so he's been doing lots of shows with them. but they said he's going to actually be a key contributor to the writing on the next album. So I kind of find that interesting, right? Because, he was a perfect fit to replace Piggy, who has a really unique like riffing style and lead style, and he's very proggy and like it just seems to like I would love to know what a Forbidden album is going to sound like. As a key writer, I'm so curious. Like how could his style not come through? Like, is the Forbidden going to sound like a new Voivod album?
That would be wicked.
Maybe.
And I think Chewie's like one of the main writers on all the recent Voivod albums.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But it's not uncommon to do two bands. I mean, he could probably easily do two bands. It's not
he's so
Voivod's
versatile.
burning it up. What's that?
He's so versatile too.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, maybe it is easy. Like, I'm not being a musician myself, like a guitar player. Like, can you just switch? Like, turn off my Voivod like light and put on like a different light, or I don't know how it works.
I think he can because he's very gifted.
Yeah,
he's very artistic. He's a very talented guitar player. So I don't see why he can't.
Yeah. No, you might be right. But yeah, it just makes me curious to hear it. So apart from the new vocalist, now to hear the Chewie will be interesting. So the other item today is going to mention Coroner. So we've yet to do a Coroner podcast, so we got to rectify that at some point. That might be my next pick when it's my turn around.
Nice.
But they just announced a North American tour. The opening slot's going to go to Deceased. They're hitting March 2025, Canada and USA. So I've actually been fortunate enough to see Coroner a few times recently, and they're still fantastic these days. So highly recommend catching them. But I was looking at, I'm very familiar with some of the US and Canadian venues. They're incredibly small. Like the Philly one is actually a bar, not even a concert venue.
Wow.
So if anyone's looking to attend these, and even the Canadian ones are all like tiny venues. So
they got a Toronto show, Billy?
Yeah, they're doing Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa.
Where are they playing in Toronto? Did it say?
Yeah, Toronto, they're doing Velvet Underground.
Oh yeah, that's really small.
That's really tiny. Montreal, they're doing the Piranha Bar.
Wow.
Which again is a bar. And then like Philly, where I used to spend a lot of time seeing shows, they're doing a place called Johnny Brenda's, which is like a club. It's funny because with a Canadian band, the OGs, they're still going today. Total mind blank. We're not big fans of them. They're from Toronto. Reiner, the drummer.
Oh, you're talking about Anvil.
Yeah, Anvil. Yeah. Anvil plays. I saw Anvil playing Johnny Brenda's in Philadelphia. Like it is tiny. So So all that to say, my bad memory to say, if you want to go and they're hitting your town, get tickets right away because they're small venues.
I think I definitely want to go check that out.
Yeah, no, we should. I'm gonna go Velvet Underground. So it's
is that in March?
Yeah, and they picked March because they're actually doing a pretty big spot in Texas, Hell's Heroes Festival. Nice. So they're obviously planning to tour around that one festival gig.
Have you seen Deceased before, Billy?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay,
they're good too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a great band. I love that band.
They're a bit different from Coroner, right? Like it's what the hell? Why not? Just you get different, diverse crowd.
King Valley's pretty cool. I mean, he's another gifted musicians who's been in so many other bands. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think we talked about him. I don't know if it was offline or on podcast, but I was saying he's one of my favorite like metal podcasters. He always pops up on all the podcast shows.
Yeah,
and he knows his stuff, and he's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's so good. And then just one other quick piece of news for folks like me who love walking open air and who are
Mhm.
going next year. It's time for the famous Christmas calendar.
Woo!
So I don't know if you guys know what that is, but they
Yeah,
actually
I know
do
it
like
is.
an advent calendar.
Oh,
So like when your kids have it and they open
Mhm.
the door and you pull out chocolate. So Vakken does it every year. So like when
Sweet.
you're on your phone, it's so cool. You go in and there'll be a door on that day, and you actually got to take your phone and your finger and scratch off the door.
oh, neat.
And
Wow.
then it
Cool.
reveals like a prize they give away or the bands that are going to be playing. So they
Cool.
actually announce, well, I don't know if most, but a good chunk of all the bands get announced on these calendars
Wicked.
in December. So that's on December 1st. And they give away a prize every day, like t-shirts and
Nice.
all kinds of cool stuff that they'll ship across the world.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
so that's
fun.
pretty. I'm looking forward to that. It's like every year. It's like I'm like a kid in a candy store. I, I eagerly await, like for midnight German time, and I go and scratch the box, and it's like, oh yes, what a great band, or oh shit, what a bad band. But it's such a unique experience for adults. But
Cool.
and then in terms of what's spinning, so I'm putting together. I think we all are our top 15 list. That'll be a future podcast. But I broke this out because it got lost with all the releases.
Oh,
Uh,
aborted.
Yep, I
yeah,
reviewed that.
aborted album this year.
Yep.
Like
I love that album.
yeah, like I mean, not only does it have a vault of horrors and amazing like album cover,
Yep.
it's definitely a top 15 on the album cover alone.
Yep.
Oh,
It's
But
on my
yeah.
I totally remember liking it. I
yeah.
played it probably 3, 4 times and it just got totally lost.
And I reviewed it for that unnamed site that we won't bring up, but I did
Yeah,
review it.
yeah. No, exactly. So yeah, no, it's good. So I've been going back to like Jan 1 and looking
Yeah.
at everything that came out, and this is one I totally forgot. So I've
Yeah.
been spinning
Great
this
album.
the last day or two. So I'm
Great
still not
cover
sure
too.
if it's going to crack top 15 or not.
Oh, okay. It's in my top 15. I'll give that away.
Is
But
it? Okay.
oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I had
There's so
to.
many, like it's impossible. Like
I know.
And
I
that
know.
album for CDs on sale for $13 on Amazon. So
Is
you
it?
have it,
yeah,
Jim?
Nice? That's
hilarious. This is so funny because I've been wanting to get that for the longest time. I ordered it 4 days ago, and you're bringing
okay.
it up. It's almost like we share all three of us share the same brain.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't tell you the times I order an album and then Jim, you're posting that like CD version of it, like on Facebook. So
Yeah, it's
Well,
crazy.
thanks. I'll pick it up now. I didn't know it was that cheap on Amazon.
Oh yeah, $13, man.
Okay, cool. I'll grab it. I'm gonna grab it. I love that cover. I just
Oh
so
yeah.
good. So
yeah,
great.
no, it's cool. Um, okay, yeah. So I got to give it a few more spins. So I'm still debating whether
Okay.
top 15 or not.
It's
Uh,
great. I love it. I think it's a great album.
yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
There's
Just
a
so
lot of good death metal albums this year. It was a good year for death metal.
Oh, huge year.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's jump over to our main topic, Demolition Hammer. Just really quick,
Yeah.
a couple facts.
Mhm.
So they're obviously a death thrash band or thrash death band, however you want to say it. They're from New York. They were active from 86 to 95. Then they broke up in 95. Sadly, only 3 albums. Tortured Existence in 90, what we're talking about today. And oh, and it'll come up later in our questions, but we got to show
Yeah.
the artwork on that
Damn
guy. There's
straight.
some recent reissues that just came out. I'm using here, but
Yeah.
Epidemic of Violence in 92, and then a little unusual Time Bomb in 94. But we'll get
Yeah.
to that. We'll
Yeah.
get to that soon.
Yeah.
So then the band reunited in 2016 with a new drummer. Unfortunately, the legendary drummer that was on these albums passed away in 1996. So yeah, that's a shame, but yeah, really disappointing there.
Glowfish poisoning, dude.
Yeah, like, and what did you say?
Blowfish.
Yeah, glowfish is
I didn't know
it's like
what
a
that was.
blowfish.
What does that mean?
Well, okay, so glowfish is like it's a kind of fish that you can eat, but you have to it's how you prepare the meat.
Yes.
So if it's undercooked, it releases like poisonous kind of I don't know,
Yep.
some kind of poison
Why
that
does it sound like a Simpsons episode?
I know, I know. It
Like
can
that,
kill
that
you.
sushi fish in The Simpsons. You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about, the
And it can
blowfish.
kill you. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. And apparently he was cooking some glowfish, and I guess he didn't cook it properly, and he died of glowfish poisoning.
Oh, so it's
Wow.
literally from eating of okay.
Yeah, yeah. You can eat the fish. It's just how you prepare it,
And
apparently.
he was like in, I think I read Africa maybe or something.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was like really far from home too.
It's crazy. What a crazy story that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
had to look it up too because I was like, what the hell is glowfish?
yeah, I
And
saw that and I assumed it was like an error or something. I never heard of that.
no, no, it's an actual fish, but
Okay.
apparently, yeah, it's just how
Mhm.
it's how it's cooked, I guess, where the poison is not there when you eat the meat. But
Well, that's extra sad then.
yeah, yeah,
Jesus.
totally.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, the band reformed in '96. I don't know if you guys have heard anything on the new album. I
No.
haven't heard
No, I have
anything.
not.
Like they did an interview in 2017 when they were on 70,000 Tons of Metal. And they were kind of like, oh, we got a lot going on. We don't know. It's enough time just for them to do these gigs. So, yeah, I'm not going to
But
hold.
never say never, though, Billy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
Like I
Yeah.
think you're right. For years, they said we weren't going to do a new album, and they did. So
yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
Man,
I'm
if
just
they
saying
put
I'm
out
not
if
going to
they
hold
were
my
to put
breath.
out a really good death thrash mix album, this holy geez, it would do so well. These bands need to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, now's the time, right?
Yep.
Like, I mean, everyone's, all the thrash and death metal is like
Oh,
running
Come
on high
back. Yeah,
now. Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. And the band's still touring. Like I was fortunate to see them in Texas Hell's Heroes this year,
cool.
and they just ripped it. Like they were
Cool.
fantastic. I mean, the crowd was crazy. I mean, garbage pails going everywhere. People in the garbage pails, crowd surfing on the people. Like it was chaos. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, if you get a chance to see them, I mean, the guys are a little bit older, but and this is some pretty demanding music, but they didn't miss.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Cool.
In terms of lineup, we'll probably mention these guys, but so I talked about the drummer not being back for the reunion, but it was Vinny Days on drums, Derek Sykes on guitar, James Riley on guitar, and then of course Steve Reynolds doing vocals and bass guitar was the lineup
Yeah.
for the band. Okay, cool. So we showed let's get to the question. So we showed both albums. So the question is which is your favorite? I posted the two albums on
Yeah, I
Instagram.
saw that.
I mean, for me, Demolition Hammer is my favorite, but I
Yeah.
already started getting a lot of people coming back with Tortured as their favorite. So
Oh,
Ken, what's your favorite?
sorry, who?
Ken?
Oh, okay. It's tough because I like both, but
Yeah.
I would think the second album,
Hmm.
Tortured. Epidemic is probably the better album of the two. Tortured is pretty. The one thing I noticed about Tortured is that there's a lot of gang shouts, and then they
Mhm.
kind of eliminated a lot of the gang shouts on the second album. So the first album, I find the gang shouts a little bit on the cheesy side for me. It's almost like, well, we're gonna make a thrash album, and we're gonna add all the hallmarks to thrash. We're gonna have the gang shouts, blah blah blah, and it's okay, but I find the album a bit on the samey side at times, and I don't like his vocals as much. I think his vocals are actually a lot better on
Same.
the second album, where
Yeah.
he's getting more into the guttural kind of death
Growls.
metal, kind of almost a little bit of Max Cavalera
Yeah.
grunts. So you can see there's some direct correlations to I guess maybe being inspired by Sepultura, because I see a lot of that on the I can hear a lot of that on the second album is more so. But I think I like the second album. The only thing I'll say is I prefer the cover of the first album and not the second album cover. But when we get to the art, I'll explain I'll explain
Yeah.
it. But I think Epidemic is a better album.
Cool. Jim, what are your thoughts?
It's Time Bomb. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, it's possible.
No.
I don't know.
My
I
God.
guess
No.
I left that off. I'm making a big assumption at the beginning in this question.
Never. No, Epidemic. I agree with everything Ken said. I think they had some gang shouts on the second album, but it was a lot
Yeah.
more selective and more enunciating the words at certain times of the songs, which we'll get into, which I absolutely love. This second album's one of my favorite thrash albums, probably be in my top 20 of all time. I love it. Thrash Death. I mean, I should, because this definitely has so much, like, even parts, like we talked, with Gus there a couple weeks ago on the Sacrifice albums that we were talking about, and sometimes there's a little bit of death growls there too. It's the same thing with this. This has got, from what I think is the best combination of you've got death and thrash together, kind of married together. There's some crossover sounds on that album, and I love it. Epidemic's my favorite, but I mean the first album's great, and I like the artwork on it. I know. I'm not going to steal your thunder. I know you're going to talk about the artwork and the situation with it. So I kind of like that. So, but I mean, both albums are amazing. And the third one, I know you're probably going to bring it up in another question, but
yeah, we'll get to that.
Shut up,
Hang
Jimmy.
on that one. I think we'll be all universally agree on.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And so we all three of us agree on which is the best of the first two, because I'm also Epidemic for me. I think they're both great albums.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense. It's 2 years in between. I think
Yes.
the musicianship is better. I think there's some more complexity in the songwriting on the second album, like particularly the leads and the riffs, like James and Derek. I like them better. Like I think Steve's bass playing is much better.
Mhm.
On the second album. So yeah, I just think it's a slightly more mature songwriting.
Yeah.
But again, they're both great. But if you put a gun to my head, I would definitely pick Epidemic.
And the drums, holy
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
The drums,
yeah.
Drums on this
Vinny.
album. But you know what? You
Mhm.
make a good point, Billy. I mean, the first album came out in 90, which is like the thrash mecca and death metal mecca. We're leaving sort of hair and glam metal and more of the traditional, well, that's not traditional, but you know what I mean. And we're heading into the 90s, and then Epidemic comes out in 92, right when so many great death metal albums and thrash albums have come right around that time. It just fits the time frame and the genre so well.
Well, the standard, right? Yep. That first album was so standard sounding for the time.
Yes.
And Randy Burns, who I like as a producer, it's Randy Burns. It's got his style of producing where it's kind of dry at times, I find, a bit cut dried and sort of not as much variation. So when they brought in the different producer for the next album, you could see where the changes happened, right?
Any idea why they changed producer? Did you read anything, Ken?
I was looking it up, but I couldn't find anything.
So presumably it wasn't recorded at Morrisound, right?
No.
Yeah.
They did not record it. I think that might have been the reason. I'm not too sure, but I didn't really find much on why they made the
Yeah,
change.
me neither.
Mind you, the change is better, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. They brought in someone with
Yeah, I
a
guess.
different perspective. Not that I'm shitting on Randy Burns, because I'm not, but
No, yeah. But then let's
Oh.
face it, everybody was recording there, right? So
Yes.
right.
it's not crazy to say you might want to sound a bit different
Yeah.
than everyone else. Yeah. Oh well. So Jim, over to you. You mentioned the drumming there. So that's kind of for me one of my favorite parts of
Yeah.
Epidemic of Violence is Vinny's drumming.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that statement?
Oh.
And where do you think he stands with other other thrash and death metal drummers?
It's he is like so underrated. I mean, I think he's a pioneer. I mean, this album, like on so many albums of this time too, the drums are there, the bass is there, and the drums there, especially the bass, the double bass drums on this are just, they're mind blowing. I mean, this is just as good, and I'm gonna say it, as the drumming on Justice, as far as I'm concerned. I think he's up there. He's top class. He's probably underrated. I'm sure a lot of people don't even really know exactly, where he's from in that, but this album. I mean, that's the heartbeat of the album, and it usually is. I know I'm saying something that's kind of fluffy, but when it comes down to it, this whole album is a drum lovers album, and it's the backup for this. It leads everything, and I think it's just so good, and it just keeps that beat going and keeps that. There's a lot of groove on this. This is a death thrash death album, and there's a lot of groove and melodic parts in it, and I mean, the speed alone is just phenomenal. I love it. I think he's great on it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Ken?
Yeah, he's a really big personality. I was reading up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he's from New York, so he grew up in the Bronx. He was a tattoo artist and a mural artist. Apparently, he's got a lot of murals that he painted in the Bronx, which are still up. So I thought that was kind of fascinating. Yeah. I also read that he had a really big personality, so that's kind of interesting. And obviously that translates into his drumming, right?
Yeah.
So what I like that it's unfortunate we'll never really know how good he could have been.
Yeah.
He's only done a couple albums, so it kind of sucks there. But if he had survived, yeah, he could be like bigger than Vinnie Paul or anyone, or even like Charlie Benante. He could really, really be a great drummer. The one thing that I thought about him though is that as a drummer, he especially on the second album, he drives a lot of the solos. Like you get this speed up drumming, and then the solo starts. I just love the way they employed his drumming style.
Yes,
on the album. It's so manic, but it's like holy shit. I don't know too many other thrash bands with that kind of drumming. I can't recall.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's a fantastic drummer for sure, Billy. So I mean, we'll never know how good he could have been.
He passed when in '96.
Yeah,
96.
Yeah, it's really sad because like you say, I mean, where he could have gone, I think the ceiling was, it was a glass he could have gone through.
Yeah, well, he started the second band, Deviate New York, with James Riley after they split, but I think they only got into the demo phase and never got past that. But I guess we'll never really know, right?
Yeah, no, but I agree with you guys. I love his performance here. Yeah. Like this is one of the few albums where I think the drummer is like potentially the star.
Yeah.
And Ken, you hit it right on, right? Like his timing, like with some of the guitar leads, and like it's just fantastic, right? Like many of my highlights of every single song, I keep going back to Vinny's drumming. It's just like vicious. Like it sounds like even just like he's hitting the snare, but it sounds like he's standing up and like slamming the snare. Right, like he's just beating it, but yeah, no, I think it's great. Okay, so Ken, we'll stick with you, and so album artwork, you being our resident artist, what do you want to say about these two albums?
Okay, we'll start with the first album, and you all know Axel Herman. If you may not know the name, you know what he's done. He's a German graphic designer and illustrator. So Axel did Sodom's Code Red.
Oh,
yeah, he's did a lot of German metal bands. Currently, he's working. He did and I'm sure you guys have seen this. There's that documentary coming out, the history of Teutonic Thrash. He did the poster art for that cover, for the poster cover, which is really nice. You can check out his work on Instagram. He's great. He did the recent Asphyx cover on Neuroceros in 2021. That's really good, but he's a really, really good artist. I love that cover. That cover is so great. In comparison to the second album, like the cover, Michael Whelan, I know we've talked about Michael Whelan before. He's did, Sepultura. Michael's a really accomplished artist himself. Yeah, that's right. And the funny thing about that is if you hold up that album next to Obituary, it's actually one cover, but they divided it in half. So originally that Michael did it for a book cover for a Lovecraft compilation book. And of course, that they call it Nightmare B and Nightmare A. So Nightmare B is what you see on this cover here, which I don't like because it's just a detail, and you can tell that it's just a detail. So it doesn't grab me. There's not enough a focal point to grab me. I think I prefer Nightmare A with the obituary side of it. But yeah, it's just too bad that that for whatever reasons I'm not too sure why they went for that, but I don't know. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. It's too bad they didn't hire him to actually do a brand new cover, like commission to do something new as opposed to just like taking an existing piece that he'd done. But I imagine maybe it might have been a price thing where a lot cheaper just to take an existing piece as opposed to commissioning him to do a new cover idea. But yeah, it's okay, but I'm not a fan of it. And I like Michael Whelan quite a bit, but I'm just not a fan of that cover.
So Ken, I remember reading like one was like cover A, like one was A and one was B from an artist. But what obituary album was it?
Cause of Death.
Cause of Death?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but they're not meant to like, because you said if you put them side by side, like they're not connected though, right?
No, it's a gatefold. It's a gatefold cover. Yeah, it's connected, Billy. If you put both together, you can see the connection.
Really?
Yeah. I know because I have the Lovecraft. No, I have the.
So if I'm holding it this way, would I place the Cause for Death on this side
right
or
next
this side?
No, that side too. Yeah, to your right.
The first side.
Yeah, the first side. Yeah,
I can't see it. Like now, I'm tempted to go behind me and pull it out.
It's a gatefold cover. Like because I have the book. I have the Lovecraft novel with that cover on it, and it's just really. I don't know what the thinking was. I mean, it's kind of stupid that they would do that because you're taking just a detail of one side, and obviously obituary got the better deal of it.
Oh yeah.
Obituary cover is fucking awesome.
Well, to make it even odder, that wasn't even supposed to be the obituary cover.
That's right.
That's
right. Yeah. We've talked about that already on the Sepultura podcast. But
yeah.
It's kind of funny how all three bands are kind of linked in some ways, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's pretty thorough. Anything you want to add, Jim?
No, I like the fact. I like both covers, but I like the fact the second cover is tied in with the whole obituary / Sepultura thing because it made me Google and look at the whole gatefold. And I was like, okay, it makes sense to me now. Because I'll be honest, when I originally, like when I first saw it, I never knew that. And the Demolition Hammer CD, I was always kind of like, it's got a skeleton on it, I guess. I don't really know. I didn't really, but when I saw it, it made total sense. Once you see it together,
it's driving me nuts. But anyways, okay, that'll be. So at some point when you guys are talking, I'm gonna go get the obituary.
Homework for you, Billy. Yeah. Go do it. You'll see it. Like I can.
Okay, cool.
It's
Okay, so fourth question number 4. We got 5 questions here before we get into the album. So we raised Time Bomb. I think we know the answer to that, but let's go to you, Jim. What are your thoughts on the album? And I'm gonna get the obituary.
Terrible. It's I think it's blasphemy for that to come out of Demolition Hammer. It's such a, like, I listened to it 2 or 3 times recently just getting ready for this, and I actually, when I started filling in one of the this album we're talking about, Epidemic, I actually didn't have it on CD, so I just ordered it about 2 months ago, and luckily you can't really pick up Time Bomb anywheres, which is probably a good thing, but it's just they jumped into that whole there you go.
Yeah, the compilation with all 3 albums.
No, I don't have that one.
Yeah, I have that on this.
Wicked. It's such a departure from their first 2 albums that it just total turn off. Not into it at all.
Well, you know, Jimmy, that originally it wasn't meant to be an album for Demolition Hammer. They had written the music but they were going to call it something else.
Yeah.
But I guess peer pressure forced them into using the the Demolition Hammer name because it was already
marketing, I'm sure.
Yeah, for marketing. Yeah. So
I actually read in an interview with so Time Bomb was supposed to be a Derek Sykes solo record.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the label said we're not going to release it without the known name Demolition Hammer.
Yeah.
which is kind of silly, right? And what I even like, I don't own the album because I'm not a fan of it. But like even the logo change, right? It
Yeah.
went to this
Yeah.
terrible logo with just some words, like just some plain letters, like just terrible.
Yeah.
Well, you have to realize that they were going for more of like the Machine Head,
Industrial.
shouting style. Like
Yeah.
Steve just shouts for the whole album practically.
Yeah.
The vocals aren't great, and then they use a lot of samples. So they sampled a movie called Prince of the City, Serpico and Scarface. They used samples on some of the songs, which I guess is all right. Maybe they're tying in the New York angle because all three movies sort of, well,
It was slower.
What's that?
It was so slower. Like
yes.
maybe even groove metal.
Sludgy. It was very sludgy at times.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah.
if he released it, I may like it better if it was released as a solo album, not with Demolition Hammer written on it. Because I feel it's just not. It's not being true to form here. Like if it's a solo album, it's got to be a solo album. Like don't, I hate it when bands do. Well, it's not bands; it's probably the record companies.
Yeah, like in this case, like I didn't know that until like maybe a year ago that it was supposed to be a solo record. So like I felt better about the whole thing, right? Like it's not really the band's trying to like do a bait and switch with a totally different style of music, right? It was a record label decision, but again, in fairness, right? Who wasn't doing that?
Well, Wasp, for instance, with the Crimson Idol, that was supposed to be a Blackie Lawless solo album. And the label said, no, you got to release it as a Wasp album. So, I mean,
So, guys, I'm still stuck here. But, like, how, like, do I have them right? But, like, I don't see a other than there's some skulls.
Yeah, there is. Flip them around the other side. Like,
this way?
Yeah. Go that way. Yeah, they do. If I can find that,
like, I'm not saying they don't. I just don't see it in my eyes.
Yeah, they do.
Because then you got this brick wall here, which is like not tied into this cover.
What you have to realize is that they cut it when.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but if you actually seen the actual image, you'd know what I'm saying. But they kind of crop both sides a bit, so it does look like two separate images, but it is one image.
Okay. Yeah. No. Again, I'm not doubting it. Like,
I know you're not. Yeah.
To me, I would never look at that.
It kind of turns a bit. Like that's the 4 sleeves.
There you go. Yeah, he's got.
So like the way it's built is because they've got them split. So it's just a little bit different like that. That's what I saw. It kind of makes more sense.
You got it, Jim.
Yeah, that looks a little better. Yeah. Okay. Sorry to harp on that, but it was driving me nuts.
And there's a bug in it.
There's a what?
Like a grasshopper or a fly or something in the obituary one. I never saw that before. Billy's Billy's looking at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop with that. Like I'm gonna derail the whole damn podcast. So okay, did everyone give their feelings on Time Bomb?
Yes,
pretty much.
Not you.
No, I did. I said I didn't like it. And then it felt better that it was supposed to be a solo album.
Yeah.
And then even the logo, I can't stand the logo, right?
No.
Like, and then so if the label's gonna force you to put it out as a Demolition Hammer album, then don't go and change like what's gonna make people recognize the band.
Do you think it was maybe a silent little bit of a protest from the band that we'll change this then, since it maybe I don't know. It just you're right.
It's hard to say.
Yeah. It's just weird, right? Like so the record label says we want to use the name, but then you get rid of like the name label that everyone recognizes it by.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, cool. So very quick. This might be an obvious question or a brief answer, but so what do you guys think of the death thrash style? Do you prefer your thrash or death metal separate or combined?
No, I like them both. I think it's great when you can combine that. I mean, you got bands like Thanatos and Rigor Mortis who do the same. There's a lot of bands. I think it's interesting. Like it's just a different kind of approach, but two genres colliding into one. A no-brainer to me. I say perfect.
Yeah, I'm the same way, right?
Yeah.
Like my favorite styles are thrash and death, so you mix
Same
them
here.
together.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you like it?
Exactly.
That's why I was like, this might be a silly question, but
No, it's
anything
not
you would add,
silly.
Jim?
Oh yeah, no, I mean some of my favorite bands like meld the two together. I love it, and even in some pure thrash albums, you can still hear a lot of death metal in there, and vice versa. I mean, I think what I love about this band is they don't necessarily down tune a lot that a lot of pure death metal does, which I love pure death metal. But I mean, this is just the hybrid of both. It's like the best of both worlds for me.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, we all agree.
We all
Okay,
like
so
Death Thrash. There you go.
sorry, what were you saying, Ken?
We all like Death Thrash, so
Yeah.
it's easy
Yeah.
answer.
Well, it's funny, right? We do Thrashcast because we love thrash, but we also
love
probably
death.
equally love death metal. I think.
Yeah.
I want to speak for you guys, but I think you do.
No,
Oh
no.
yeah.
I love death metal.
Yep.
Yeah, no, me too. Okay, so the album track by track. So Jim, we're going to start with you. Track number 1, Skull Fracturing Nightmare, a nice, friendly, happy song name.
Man, what a way to start off an album. I mean, this is just a ripper from start to finish. I love it how it just pans into the vocals right away, and those heavy drum, like the drums, I'm going to say it now in track 1, but it's throughout all the tracks. Just, awesome. But what I love about the vocals on this is that you get the death vocals, but it's more of like a little bit of a higher register. So you have that, you're thinking in your mind right from the start, like if this was the first album you were listening to of a death thrash album or thrash death album, you'd be like, okay, is it like, where's it going to go? What's it going to do? Because the vocals are a bit more higher register than a normal pure death metal album. But I mean, at 140, the tempo changes with that blood curdling scream.
Yeah.
I love the melodic pounding. I mean, at 209, that killer guitar riff that just leads into a gallop. At 310, you've got the screams, and the screams match. That guttural scream matches the heavy drums. I just think and there's so many tempo changes. And at 352, the guitar solo, and then the song kind of finishes, sort of finishes. It's a long song, finishes up with some more heavy guttural screams. I really like that. I like, and Ken made a good point. Rather than there are some gang vocals on here, but they're a little bit more basic than the first album. I like the guttural growls and not even screams. Just the gutturalness of it a little bit better than the first album. But yeah, what a way to start the album.
Yep. Ken?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Everything Jim said is perfect about it. The one thing I think this is where the comparison to death metal comes in is the fact that you get the lyrics start going into a really nasty territory. So I don't know, I'm getting kind of vibes like Cannibal Corpse vibes. You start going into that territory with some of the lyrics, like skull fracturing nightmare. Like that's as nasty as you're gonna get. And it's a really brutal track, but then they wanted to write about extreme pain, torture, and suffering, and it's basically a serial killer's wet dream, if you ask me. And that's what it is. I mean, like the whole song describes like various forms of torture and agony, how victims experience agony. So that's pretty like a really really hard edge to me, and it's nasty all the way through. And I agree what Jim was saying about the vocals. The difference here is that he's a bit more shrill at times and raspier. So, which is much more common with death metal vocalists. He didn't have that on the first album. He didn't even sing remotely close to that. So I like the whole kind of raspy, drippy nastiness with the style of vocals, and it really brings the song more into focus. But it as an opening number, this is a great opening to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you guys hit on everything. And Jimmy, for the first time in the history of the podcast, we actually had timing match on that killer riff at 209. So That's a first. But yeah, I mean, you guys sort of said it. I mean, and everything we say on this song is going to apply to
Yeah.
every song,
Yeah,
right?
pretty
Like
much. Yeah.
it's a perfect opening song. This is not one where we're going to say, well, track two should have been track one, and
Mm.
like other than the minute solo,
Yeah.
everything is just like a vicious punch to the head, right? Like it's just relentless. And yeah, I agree with you guys. I really like Steve's vocals, and they also like the shrill like component. Kind of reminds me a bit of like another album I love equally as much as this. Sadist,
Mm.
Swallowed in Black,
Yep.
right? Like
Yep.
again, not exactly the same, but there's some similarities in the vocal style, and certainly in the intensity of the music. But yeah, no, I mean, again, Jim, you hit it word for word, so good stuff. Then we go into track number two, Human Dissection. Ken, why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, this one like starts to go into carcass territory because
Yeah.
the whole point of the song is that they're talking about dissecting a human body, and that's to me that's like fertile ground for carcass because that's the kind of songs that they used to like to write. But here I think it's great because the vocals get even more raspier.
Yeah.
The drumming gets maniacal, and right at that 131 mark, it's just insane. And then the riffs are so razor sharp. They're right on point. And it complements the solo that comes up. And then you get that other they go back to ripping it up with the tempo change at 330. And it just doesn't stop. It's really
Yeah.
relentless. And I think it's a great second song. It complements the first song really well.
Yeah. Jim?
Oh, totally. I mean, that heavy guitar and double bass drum intro,
Yeah.
it and the song is darker. It
Yeah.
almost has more of a lower register vocal attack to the song, which is a little bit more deathier for me, anyways, but with a thrash, sort of a thrash groove to it. And I mean, like 130, 131, that song just takes off twice as fast. I mean, it just ignites. But it's like, and it's got a great chug to it. I mean, the drums, it's an attack of drums on this song. And yeah, I'm going to jump on what Ken said, and this complements song number one, like 1-2 punch here to the gut, big time.
Yeah, I would argue there's a crazy 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming, so
Yeah, pretty much. Fair enough.
keep that going. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, I love the lead work here, right? Like, it's fantastic. Like that to me, that's improved. Like, Vinny, like the two guitar players are just significantly improved versus the first. And you guys mentioned the tempo changes, but like the rhythm section on this thing, right? Like Vinny and Steve on bass, and they're just constantly shifting rhythms within the song. Is so good. The leads, like I agree with you, Jim. One of the best drum tracks on here. Oh, and Steve's vocals, right? That you guys called it a little bit different, but they're just so raw and primal here, right? Like it's really unique. Like it's really good stuff. And all these songs are like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they're not, but they never feel 5 minutes, right?
Nope.
I never listen to these, and it's like, oh God, like this should have been 3.5 minutes or should have been 4. Musically, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the tempo changes, right?
Yeah.
They're I guess they're perfectly placed at times, so the song never gets boring. You get one little bit, then it just rips into another bit, and it just goes on, and I think it makes the songs, really
no,
good.
dead on. Yeah, I agree completely. Okay, so Jim, we're gonna go to you. Track number 3, Pyroclastic Annihilation. Hopefully, I said that right.
Got it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is, like you said, a 1-2-3 punch. It's going to continue. I find this song is a little bit more of a crossover vibe for me, but I love the fact that this probably is where they've got a little bit more gang vocals on it, but they're emphasizing the gang vocals more on certain words in the song. So I like that. They're not just using it willy-nilly and just to make it that much heavier, because they don't need it. I mean, I love this. It's got such a heavy beat to it. I mean, I'm going to gush all over the drums all album, but the riffs on this one, like the killer riffs in the song that change the tempo and the song's direction, I think are amazing. I think this is like This song has a guitar showcase on it for both guitarists. I think it's just they change the tempo, they change the direction of the songs with those riffs. They're almost like signals that, oh, okay, you're in for a different direction here. But yeah, it's an amazing song. I love it.
Yeah, no, I think that I agree with that, Jim. I mean, because you get that like amazing riff that comes in at like 2:45,
Yeah.
and then at the 3 minute mark, it's just pure brutality.
Yeah.
Like the drums and the crunching riff, like it's just fantastic. And then that leads into like a 60-second, 65-second like guitar trade-off section on the lead work. It's just, yeah, it's really good stuff. And yeah, we'll just ditto that on the drums for every single track.
Pretty much.
Ken, anything you want to add here?
Yeah, this is like one of the first songs I think that tackles the idea of an erupting volcano, which is pretty much what the song's about.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's kind of a new one for a thrash band, but I like that. I think there's a bit of groove here too, which I detect, and I think there's a lot of Sepultura vibes on this one. And I say that because at 110 you get that kind of Max Cavalera style, ooh, and then the major tempo change happens. I love it because Max would do that a lot on Sepultura albums. So you get that here too. But you guys are right. Like the speed is relentless. It burns like rubber in the last minute.
Yeah.
It's a total ripper of a track.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that Sepultura, like like those grunt type things. Because I actually have in my notes, I always, whenever I hear a grunt like that, I kind of do like a Tom G. Warrior grunt.
Actually, I bring him up
but
later in the
I mean,
album.
let's face it, they all got it from Tom anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But you can hear the ooh, and that's Max.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like ooh,
it's funny you say that, Billy, because I've got that actually written down in song number 9.
Yeah, so it happens on like 2. I have it too. I have it noted for song number 9 too. Okay, so Ken, we're gonna stick with you, going with Envenomed.
Yeah, I love this song. Like the vocals are really shrill and they continue to be raspy, which is great. Like the tempo to me is brutal on the entire song. Yeah, there's a bit of a slowdown and then the tempo revs back up again. I think it's great. The lyrics are fantastic because it's all about you're hating someone who betrayed you is basically the gist of their lyrical content here. But like at 2:55, you get that little scream, and then there's another tempo change that goes off the charts. I also get a little bit of Dark Angel vibes here for some reason. Like Darkness Descends. I'm getting a little bit of that in the song, but it's another really good, brutal song right from like beginning to end.
Yeah, no, all good points. And it's a shorter song, right? It
Yes,
just might be the shortest track. But Jim, we'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good example of thrash and death melded together. I mean, the whole album is, but I love the fact that the vocals are heavy and death-like, but they're total clean. So you've got that, even the vocal attack on it is death and thrash combined. It's really cool. Like, and this really shows that off to me. At 210, there's that really wicked guitar solo. At 110, you've got that bass drum sort of that changes. It's another signal that changes. It's like a flare gun in my mind that goes off that changes the tempo of the song. But yeah, I love this song. It's fantastic. It's like we're now on 4th punch and you're getting beat up here and you're not even like we're just getting halfway through the album and the album is just getting better and better.
Yeah, next song is a killer song.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant by punch number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like there's no 1-2 punch. Well, I mean, you guys have like nailed every single thing to say about this song, so you've hit everything I had. And Jim, we matched again. The tempo change at 110. So either you slowed down or I sped up. So I don't know which is the case, but so we'll move on to somebody referred to the song number 5, but Carnivorous Obsession. Jim, we'll go with you.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, I think it's really good. I love the fact the vocals don't cut in until almost 1:40. So you're kind of wondering, like, if you didn't know the album, you probably think maybe this could be maybe an instrumental. Who knows? But I love the fact that it's got that slow but heavy intro that leads into guitar. I mean, it's just so good. And it's got that, it just leads into that great chug. Again, a perfect example of a death thrash mix song. I mean, and the growls in this are really, really good. And at the end, I mean, the song just goes ballistic. I mean, this song just absolutely, it's like lighting a stick of dynamite. It's amazing. And it's just, I can't believe they're still doing that death, thrash, death mix on this, and you're song 5 in, and you're still getting a different sound. It's not the same sound. It's not the same tempo. It's not the same speed. It's not the same, everything changes. So that's what this album is really underrated in my mind about all that vocal and musicianship that went into this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jim. Like, I think musically, this might be my favorite track, probably the most technical.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite like bass track.
Yeah.
Some of the best bass work here. And you hit it right on, right, with the tempo changes. Here they'll actually slow it down a little bit more than they do in other areas, but then it quickly comes back with like, the brutality there. So the contrast works really well. So yeah, this is a great one. But this is probably, I don't know if you guys find this or if it's unique to me, but I actually find it's probably the catchiest song.
Yes.
If I had to give like a non like death metal fan like a song to hear, I would probably put this track on.
Good point.
I don't know. Ken, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's catchy but nasty.
Yeah, no, it still has
it's my
yeah.
favorite song on the album.
Nice.
Carnivorous Obsession, because it's all about cannibalism. And the lyrics go on to describe how brutal, like the brutal lust for consuming human flesh. Oh wow, you can't get any better than that. It has like the choke fest on this album, on this song alone, is like just incredible. I totally love this song. It's everything Jim said is what you're going to get here with the growls. Again, you get the kind of max growls. There's a little bit of that I find on it. So this is probably, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I find when you start getting in the later half of the album, the songs sort of stray away from thrash and get more onto the death side.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just something I noticed. So it almost becomes like part thrash in the first half and then more death on the second half. It's just my one little observation. But this song, wow, I think it's a great song. Totally love the song.
Yeah. And then that drumming, right? Like just past the 1 minute mark when it does pick up, like it's like grindcore like style speed.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. But okay. So then we get into so Ken, sticking with you. I mean, there's not a lot to say about this track, but Orgy of Destruction coming in at a whopping 50 seconds. I don't know. You got anything to say here, Ken?
I hate it. I don't like it.
I don't get the purpose of it, but
it kind of fades in as an afterthought. The ending is interesting. They have the sounds of this melee going on in the background. Okay, that's weird. I almost wonder if they were just trying to pad the album for length.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
it's 51 seconds. That's not.
I know, but I'm just guessing.
I don't
off
get
the top of my head as to why it's there. Because it doesn't. It's got a great title, "Orgy of Destruction." Okay, that sounds great. Why don't you make a whole song called "Orgy of Destruction" instead? That's what I don't understand. So maybe they got tired. They just didn't want to do it. I don't know. I think this song could be left off, personally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me, it adds absolutely nothing. I don't get it. And if you like the battle, like like the vocal, the sound, stick it on another track.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it sounds like it should be a soundtrack for a Warhammer tournament with those little figurines.
Yeah, I could see that. Good point. Good point, Jim.
I don't think it adds anything.
No.
And like I get like the padding thing, but like it's 50 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't write that. Did I write down the listing? Like, how long was this thing? No, I didn't write it down. Do you guys know?
What? Oh, it's
the length of the album.
Minutes. It's about 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Okay. Well, 40 minutes with or without the track. Okay. So Jim, we're going to you with the title track number 7, Epidemic of Violence.
Yeah, they could have used the fighting if they wanted to. They could have used the fighting of the last Orgy of song there and could have maybe threw it in for an intro on this, not the whole intro, just the fighting part, because Epidemic of Violence, I'm sure Ken's going to talk about the words behind it, but like this has got, and I agree with Ken, we start getting, I feel, more death metal vocals. But this song's got a great melodic groove to it. It's a fast song, but I like it. It's a pounding song, and the death metal growls in this are, again, they're low but clear growls. They're just really good. They get you. This song gets you amped up, and I think they could have maybe added the little couple seconds of the fighting with the swords and the axes and stuff, maybe as an intro to this. But I mean, this song is awesome. This is probably one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yeah. No, it's a great track. It's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
Like I almost find some of the guitar work is like a death metal version of something on Slayer's like Rain and Blood. The solos, kind of are in that chaotic form, and I see some connection there. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you had there, Jim. It's just fantastic track. The guitar work is crazy, and just Steve is like more like growling and snarling than he did on the previous like 5 or 6 tracks, if you include that instrumental. Ken, what would you add?
Yeah, the same. I like Steve's vocals here too. I like the constant bubbling chug that you get all the way through it. It's brutal, it's intense. And when they're talking about the lyrics, I mean, I think that the ending on Orgy could have easily worked here because the whole song's about violence, chaos, and societal collapse. And then the lyrics go on about, they start talking about the nature of violence and how it impacts society. So I think that little ending part could have easily worked here. But I also had in my notes, I find this song has a more distinct death metal flavor. I think we all agree on that for sure. But this is a really good song as well. You can't go wrong with it.
Yeah. No, I agree. So Ken, will stick with you for track number 8, Omnivore, and I have a feeling you're going to mention the death growl to open and sticking with the death growl focus of the end.
Yeah. I mean, you hit it there, Billy. Like, that death growl, the growls here for Steve.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's got a rapid tempo, and like I find at times that Steve can barely keep up. He's just trying to spit out these lyrics, and it's like that tempo and just the nastiness of it overall. Wow. And he has really, really harsh vocals here. And I like it. I like it a lot. This song is interesting because it's all about a predatory creature with a voracious appetite to eat people and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool that they wrote this into a song, because the lyrics describe the creature as a huge gaping jaw filled with razor sharp teeth. So, I mean, that says it all. But this song, the beginning, the end, and everything that Steve does here, love it. Love this song.
Yeah, I know this. Yeah, I know this is a great one, and I find this it's one of my favorites because just as it approaches 2 minutes, it actually gets into this. It has like a bit of like what do you call that? Like a cosmic like type feel. It gets a bit progressive. It kind of sounds like something that you would hear on a Death or Atheist or a Cynic album, just for like a minute. It's I call it like a cosmic thing, but it works really well within the song. Yeah, and then Steve's like the vocals are just killer, like death metal through and through. But this also has one of the best musical sections. At like 2:45, there's like the guitar solo trade-offs. The bass lines are through that. The drumming, like it's like technical riffing. Like this is a case where they show their maturity over the first album for sure. So Jim, what would you add?
I concur with you guys. I mean, I love that great death metal growl intro-ish, I called it. It was so cool. And I mean, that bass line is so predominant on this song, especially when they kind of shut everything off and it's just, and that was so cool because it's like, okay. And I think this has got a lot of hints of more basic melodies on it. But for me, this is death metal vocals with thrash music backup. But I hit on what Billy said about that sort of cosmic feel, put me into a bit of a Blood incantation. Not quite as proggy as that, but kind of in that mode. And I wrote that down. So I was like, I mean, wow, whether they did it on purpose or they fell into it, definitely really cool. I mean, this is one of my favorite songs on the album too. And Omnivore, Ken, you should make one of your models out of this just from the description.
You could. Predatory creature, and it could be describing like predator,
Yeah.
alien, like it's got that feel to it, right?
What I like about it, he's an omnivore, so he'll eat anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Cool.
So then we go to the last track. So we only have 9 songs on the album, a border side. So Jim, we'll stick with you.
It's wicked. I mean, this is the way to end off an album. And I wrote down, this has a Celtic Frost, Tom G Warrior, grunt at the start. I mean, that is just, as soon as I heard it, I was like, hey, did he do a cameo on here for just that? Because that made me, and you know what, when you guys were talking about it, yeah, it's throughout the album. I mean, probably these guys were real Celtic Frost fans. I mean, you have to be. It's just so cool, and I mean, it's a great song to end off the album. It's just an explosion of a song, and I love that scream at the end, that guttural. Everything is just guttural and placed, and I think. Ken, you described it as this is a nasty album, and not very often, like, you can get a couple nasty songs on a thrash or, well, probably more so a pure death metal album. But this, and sometimes the lyrical content, like, I'm not picking on a band, but like even Cannibal Corpse, it's more shock therapy. This has the feeling of more nastiness than the actual outward just shocking, like maybe imagery you get from the lyrics. So I think that's really cool because they're doing it through the music rather than just, like Hammer Smash Face. I mean, you're picturing in your mind,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, but that has that's a nasty song because it's written
guaranteed,
nasty. And it's got a nasty, but this has that hint of nastiness, almost like it's a mean album. And I the songs are mean, nasty, and they get to it. And I like that. It's almost kind of a raw, and I'm not talking about production because the production on this album is really, really good. But I love the fact that it's a raw, has that guttural, maybe more basic human feeling to it that I get. So, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I may start chanting. I don't know.
Ken, how are you going to follow that up?
Yeah. He's pretty much said it all. Like, for me, what he said about Cannibal Corpse is what I'll say again. I find it's going into that territory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the lyrics. I mean, like, it's all about an abortion. So they're talking about abortion, but they're doing it in a very kind of gross, kind of in your face way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you think of it, blood expelled from the womb, massive hemorrhage flood, vile wrenching surgery, abolish embryos. Like, come on, like that is just over the top. That's so much like Cannibal Corpse. Take No Prisoners, the best song to end an album, and I agree. And I know this is one of our big topics, how we like an album begins and ends. This is a great bookending song to end. It's just so relentless. It's such a great song. Totally love this song.
Yeah. No, I don't have much to add to that. You guys nailed it. I mean, this is probably one of the most like shredding riff tracks of them all. Like, it's just this is one where definitely the guitar shines. For me, is the best part of track number 9. But otherwise, you guys kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the album. Anything you guys want to close out with?
Oh, it's a great album.
For any new fans out there, you got to get into this album.
Buy it. Go out and get it.
Oh yeah, phenomenal album, and especially if you want to tap dance in the darker arts, so to speak. If you want to tap dance into death metal, because a lot of people, I find death metal gets a lot of pushback from people who are like, it's too extreme, and there's a big difference between extreme, death, thrash. This is a great sort of gateway drug to get into more death metal. I think, I mean, you follow this and you just jump. I would jump right into Obituary. But I mean, I love Obituary is my favorite death metal band of all time, but it's a lot different. But this would be a great gateway drug to get you in there.
Very much so.
Cool. Yeah, no, fantastic album. It's a must for thrash fans for sure. Okay, so that brings us to our top 10 segment. Who wants to kick this off? Our top 10 death thrash bands. Ken, you want to go?
Sure, no problem.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry.
No,
No, that's okay.
I'll go. That's all right. I'll go. All right, so I picked some albums. I don't know if I have them in particular, but I'll start at number 10. Um, so I have Overthrow on there. They're a Canadian band, one album, of course, but I know Nick Sagius is a very interesting musician. He's been in dozens of bands. He is currently fronting Tribe of Pazuzu, which is a really good death metal band. But Overthrow, this album I really like. It's got some great growls. The songs are great. I love the cover. The cover is so striking. Within Suffering came out in 1990. It's unfortunate that they only have the one album, but
I love it.
I stuck it on my list because it's a great album. Number 9, I have Protector from Germany. They're one of the bands that don't get a lot of talk. They've been around since 1988. Their style is very interesting. They sort of came out in the 80s, broke up, and then reformed as well. If you haven't heard Excessive Outbursts of Depravity from 2022, go listen to that album. That album is killer from beginning to end. Oh, I love these guys. These guys are so great. None of their albums are bad. They're all really strong, vicious, aggressive albums, but I suggest checking them out. If you want something a little bit different from, say, Sodom and Creator, Protector might be, more your bag. Yep. Number 7, I have Mortuary. Now, this is a band from Mexico. They only have 2 albums out. They're still active, although I don't think they're very well known. I had their first album, Blackened Images, from 1990. Really vicious and really, really nasty album. If you haven't heard them, go check them out. I like their logo, and I like the first album cover is really good. But yeah, check them out if you haven't heard them. Number 6, Sepultura, of course. They kind of have to be on this list because the Remains, Arise. They, we all know what they're capable of their sound and their style. So I got them on my list. Number 5, I have Morbid Saint. Although not quite, I wouldn't call them necessarily death metal, but the vocalist goes into that territory with the style of vocals. Spectrum of Death is just
of Death, amazing. Yeah,
it's one killer album. Geez, that album is just killer from beginning to end.
Yeah,
and it's good that they're back with making music. I mean, I like Swallowed by Hell in 2024. Good. That's a pretty solid album. Good. So it's worth checking out. And then my next one would be Torture. This is not a very well-known band. They're from Texas. Their first album was in 1989 called Storm Alert. Check that out. It's only one album they have, and I know they're still a band, but that's a really vicious album from start to finish. The vocals are they'll just grab you by the balls. I recently found I actually found the used copy of that CD at Deja Vu Discs here in Toronto. So I got lucky to find it. I was like, whoa! I knew about it, but never could find a copy. So it was one of my recent finds. Good album. And then I wanted to add Master on this list. Paul Speckman. Paul's, he's a death metal legend to some degree because he's been in like Krabathor and a few other bands along the way. Abomination. I've always liked Master. They've been around since 1990. The new album just came out in 2024, the Saints Dispelled. That's really good. But one of my favorite albums is Slaves to Society in 2007. That's a really good album. Totally love that album. And then number 3, again, they're always on one of my lists. Rigor Mortis. I have to. They're just one of my all-time favorite kind of thrash death horror metal bands. I totally love them, so I have to put them on my list. Sadist would be number 2. Swallowed in Black. That's a great album. I totally think those guys are great. The new album isn't too bad that came out earlier in the year. I almost forgot about that album. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They released an album which wasn't all that bad. But
Steve is greatly missed.
What's that?
Yeah.
But Steve is greatly missed from
that. Yes, I would agree. Yeah, the bass is not so great.
But it's good. I agree. Yeah.
It's a good album, but you're right that Steve is missed for sure. And then at number 1, I have Thanatos on my list from the Netherlands. Thanatos.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're great. From the Netherlands, they've been around since like the early 90s. Realm of Ecstasy is a great album, but I love Angelic Encounters in 2000. Whoa, those guys are great. That if you want a really good mix of death thrash with some really shrill vocals and some really great guitar work, check that band out. I think they're fantastic. So that's my list.
Yeah. I think we had two matches.
Two here.
And then you had lots of stuff that were on my first like run through.
Oh yeah.
And then like Spectrum of Death and even Overthrow.
Yeah.
But then I knocked them out to put a few more rare items or less known, I guess. But all right,
well, there could have been like Haunted, Pestilence, Messiah. There's a few others.
There's actually a lot of bands.
Yeah, I know.
Really get to it, and then you can argue: do they actually lean too much to death or too much to thrash? But
or even black, because I've got a couple that they could be death thrash and maybe even have a touch of black and thrash.
Okay.
Black and death. Anyways,
well, take it over, Jim.
My first one that I picked was Solstice, the Floridian band.
Yep.
They just had that album out, I think, in 2021, Casting the Die.
Yep.
That's really good. Lifelong, wicked song. They're a wicked band. I like them.
On my list.
So are they on your list? Nice. Okay. My list isn't going to be as good, I don't think, because I picked for two spots would be Crypta and Nervosa. Now, I mean, they kind of go back and forth, and the two bands are kind of linked together, so they technically could be one band. I guess Crypta's made up of old members to some degree of Nervosa, and so anyways. But I picked those. I mean, Shades of Sorrow is pretty good, and the Jailbreak that came out for Nervosa in 23, I like that quite a bit. Here's one that could be a little bit more controversial: is Bewitcher. It's thrash, death, and with a touch of black metal in there as well. But Cursed by the Kingdom is a wicked album. I think it's a bit more deathy than black metal, so I'm putting it on my list. I went with Dark Angel.
Yeah,
Darkness Descends. I mean, I love that band. I love that album. Toxic Holocaust.
Oh yeah,
I went with that. Hell on Earth might be a little bit bending death to black a little bit more, but anyways, I wanted to put it on my list. I had Morbid Saint, Spectrum of Death. Oh man, yeah, that's a wicked album, wicked band. And Swallowed by Hell was actually I thought it was a good album. Obviously, I had Sadist on there as well. Ken, I think we had three the same. Where I kind of threw Crypta and Nervosa kind of together. I kind of picked one that I picked Midnight, even though.
Oh yeah,
probably a little bit. Their newer stuff is a little bit more even kind of sleaze thrashy than it is compared to their older stuff, which would be a little bit more death orientated. But I put them on my list. They're one of my favorite bands. I had Demolition Hammer. I mean, and then I had Sepultura as my number one. Anything prior to Chaos AD, in my mind, is a perfect example of death thrash. I love Sepultura is one of my favorite bands, and yeah, I love the fact that it can dance on both genres. So just like Demolition Hammer, so well. So that's my list, guys. Couple of ones there I know, like Bewitcher and maybe even Toxic Holocaust to some degree could be maybe disputed, and even Midnight to some degree, but. And Nervosa and Crypta, well, they're just made up of the same kind of half the same members that just got moved around. So
it's two good bands.
I can see that. I never thought of either of those two in this exercise, but you can argue the vocals are very sort of death metal-y to some degree.
Yeah,
not deep guttural, but it's still like not singing thrash either.
No.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we all come at these lists differently, so we each bring our own unique little bit. So that's cool. Okay, so I've got number 10 is probably the band with the most confusing like name changing. So Incubus.
Yeah.
who basically their first two albums, Serpent Temptation and Beyond the Unknown, and then they had to change it to what is it, Opprobrium or
Yeah,
um,
probably. Yeah.
and then the albums are floating around exactly the same, but with both names. So then you're like, what the hell? Like, so anyone who doesn't know the name story is going to be completely confused. But yeah, I think this is a good example of meeting the definition. Very underrated band, in my opinion. I've seen
Mhm.
them in the past. Number nine, just really quickly, Jim, you had it. Solstice, Casting the Die is a great comeback album.
Mhm.
And there's multiple bands with this name, right? There's like at least
Yes.
three in Europe. So yeah, you're right. It's the Florida, the Miami-based one that we're talking about. And then there's a band I absolutely love. I know the three of us have never talked about it. Um, but it's a band called Laceration. And this
Ah,
is guaranteed
Never
my
heard of
top
them.
10 list for
really?
this year. In 2024, they did an album called I Erode. They only have two albums, but like I absolutely love it. 2021, they have an album called Demise. But there's two bands that are coming up. Well, one we just talked about. These guys are Demolition Hammer meets Malavin Creation
Mhm.
in like modern day.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't rave about that. And that Aya Road album is just incredible for 2024. Great stuff. And then I wanted to get some Canadian content here. And so Ken, this is why I didn't go with Overthrow because I ended up having Raider,
Oh yeah.
which is a
That's a good
local
pick.
band
Yeah,
for
it's a good
you and
pick. Yeah.
Ken here in Toronto.
Forgot
But
about
yeah,
them.
again, perfectly matches the thrash death
Yeah.
definition. The last album, Trial by Chaos, really good stuff, and they're working on a new album. Then naturally, I can't let a top 10 go where I can't mention Oblivion.
Yeah.
And so normally I'm always mentioning From This Day Forward, but the better album for this definition is Nemesis,
Nemesis. Yes.
which dials up the technicality in both like thrash, but starts to really push the death envelope far more than the first album. Then I have number five, another band that you think of death thrash, Devastation,
Oh yeah.
from
Good choice.
Texas. So they got a
Yeah.
couple albums, but and they even toured with the legendary Death. So yeah, that's a great band that comes to mind. Demolition Hammer, we just talked about it. It's funny, we all had Sadist Swallowed in Black.
Mhm.
So that's my number three. I think that's a sign we need to cover that album.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done
Absolutely.
any Sadist, right? No, we
No,
definitely haven't done any
not
Sadist.
yet.
Number two, I don't know. Some might argue it's more death, but those first, I brought them up a couple of times. The first three Malavin Creation
Yeah.
albums
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
just
That's
incredible.
a good
So
pick.
I picked 10 Commandments, which is like my top 10 like favorite albums of all time.
Cool.
It's really good. And then here we have another three-way, which we did do a podcast. Sepultura Beneath the Remains,
Mhm.
Yeah. Very
particularly
good.
that album. But I agree with you, Jim. Anything before it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Cool.
right. Cool.
Wicked.
Very good list.
So yeah, that was
I got to check out Laceration. I wrote that down.
Oh yeah, no, Jim, you got it. Like if you like what we just talked about,
Yeah.
Demolition Hammer, and you like those first three
Oh yeah.
Mountain Creations, these guys, I mean, they're on everybody's like top 10 list that
Yeah.
have leaked out already. Like they're just fantastic. I think they're I have the vinyl. I think they're on $20 spin if I remember right, which is fairly easy to get a hold of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very well. Yeah, that's a very like
Yeah.
well-known label.
I think it's $20 spin. But don't hold me to that. But yeah, Jim, just go download that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you're gonna love it.
Cool.
Okay, so before we get into our closing comments, any last word, gentlemen?
No, I just go buy the album.
Yeah.
Go buy those two albums. If you want them, buy them, and you'll like them.
Cool. And then we would also say probably don't chase down the third one too
No.
hard.
Hey,
Save
Mom,
your
no,
money
no,
on
no,
that.
that's a stinker. That's a stinker, but
All right, cool.
you never know. You might have people who actually like that kind of style.
True.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to an end of this week's Thrashcast. So Ken's going to take over the reins next week. He's picked an album I think many people are going to appreciate and love. Megadeth, P Cells, but who's buying? What is that? 87 or
86, I think.
86.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be an interesting one.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thanks everyone for following along with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Again, just a quick reminder, if you could sort of subscribe to the channel. If you're listening and never did, please please do so. It's easy to do and helps us out. Thank you, both Jim and Ken. Always fun working with you guys, and we'll
Awesome.
see
You
Yeah.
bet.
everybody next week.
Absolutely.